No doubt. I want to talk about the quarterbacks that you guys have on your team. Obviously, Tua gets drafted number 5 overall to the Dolphins. Jalen Hurts goes in the second round to the Philadelphia Eagles. He obviously transferred away. He went to Oklahoma for a year, but again, you were in the locker room with them. You were on the practice field with both of them. What's the difference between Tua and Jalen Hurts? Are they both very similar in the way they lead? How are they off the field, on the field? Obviously, Tua, a little bit more talented. He went higher in the draft. Jalen Hurts, maybe not as talented, but again, a lot of people speak about his leadership, just the way he inspires his teammates, his work ethic. I do believe that one day he can develop into a starting quarterback. He's obviously going to have a tough task, being out Carson Wentz in Philadelphia, pretty darn good quarterback there in Philadelphia. But, just talk about what's it like playing with a guy like Tua and Jalen Hurts? Because you are a wide receiver, so what's it like catching passes from those guys, and what are they like?
Yeah, so I'll start with Jalen just because I came in my freshman year. He was an early enrollee, and we developed a relationship because we had our public speaking class together. Um, we would go eat pancakes at IHOP. He loves some strawberry pancakes, but we would talk and stuff. And he doesn't say he's quiet. He's a quiet person, and he's very humble. And he had the attitude. I remember us talking, saying, back like, I want to come in here. I want to lead this team, and I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to learn as much as I can. And he was just grinding, whether it be like going over plays in his apartment, or just going on his schoolwork. He was always working, and he wasn't getting into any trouble. He kept quiet and was just a grinder. And throughout the years, that's what he continued to do, and just was a really great. Like you said, you've heard about it. He's an unbelievable leader, and it can really do some great things, and build a group or a team around him. As a quarterback, he was very good too. He can really make some great passes. Some people say that his ability to pass isn't as good as others, but I think it was pretty dang good, and he was mobile. And I don't know if there's a better runner. He was like a running back there. And when we went into that fall camp, I was actually running with the twos the year after we played Georgia, and Jalen and Tua were switching out, ones and twos. And every time I would be with Jalen, he would, I would ask him after we came off the field after a series, I'd be like, man, what can I do differently? What do you want to do there? And he was always willing to coach me up and help me understand what he was doing, what he wanted me to do in a certain situation. And so I think he will kill it in the league. Someone that anyone would want on their team, great, person, humble, and extremely talented. And then, you go to Tua, I would say they're similar in the way that they both are kind of quiet, but at the same time, Tua can open up a little bit and he can joke around a little bit. And he's got an unbelievable arm. He'll wait back in that pocket and wait for an opportunity to make a play, which a lot of quarterbacks will kind of run. When the pocket breaks, he will literally wait until the last second to make a play. Thinking about like Georgia, he literally looked at the other side of the field so that corner on the other side would come down, and then he hit Devontae Smith. Like he was so smart.
Very, very good IQ.
Yeah, and the ability to handle pressure like he did was awesome. And like I said, I think he'll do really well too. His leadership style is a little bit different than Jalen's. I'd say he's a little bit less vocal, but he was, still an unbelievable leader. And both of them similar in the way that just like they can handle pressure better than any quarterbacks, most quarterbacks I know. And both were great guys.
Yeah, so obviously Tua, he goes to Miami. I think that's a great situation for him. He's not going to play right away. They got a good veteran quarterback in Ryan Fitzpatrick that's going to be able to start games if Tua, so Tua can get healthy. Obviously had the serious hip injury. God bless his heart, things of that nature. But let's kind of talk about Tua as far as, comparing him to some of these other quarterbacks that have come out. Obviously, you guys got a pretty good live look of Joe Burrow. Last year, actually, when Joe Burrow was not the same quarterback, you guys you stopped LSU pretty bad down in Baton Rouge, I would say. But then, Joe Burrow comes back this next year, and he's a different quarterback, man. And then obviously, you guys faced Trevor Lawrence, not this year, but last year. He's a pretty good quarterback. A lot of people are talking about him as a potential number 1 overall pick. Obviously, Justin Herbert came out this year. Pretty talented guy out of Oregon, big time arm. How do you think Tua stacks up against these quarterbacks, and do you really see him having some success in the NFL? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that he and Joe are head to head in the best quarterback in the class, in the sense that it's hard to judge or rate them, those two, because they're both extremely talented, but their their play style is different. Joe did such a good job against us this year. He sits back in the pocket. He's strong. He's big. But his ability to run is not like Tua's. And Tua's ability to extend plays, whether it be a run, passing on the run, etc., is an incredible thing. I would say that they're just different, and their differences, each of them have their own style of play that make them so great. They're clearly, in my opinion, the best in the NFL draft this year, and I think that you'll see Tua is really successful in the NFL. Just he's going to bring along the things he had at Alabama, but you're going to give him, a group of NFL players around him, and he's going to learn even more. I mean, sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that he's a franchise quarterback. I think that he's highly accurate, very smart. One thing I will say though is, do you think that he's going to be able to handle adversity? I think that you are a guy that can speak for this. I mean, he got hurt pretty badly, I believe, versus Ole Miss. Was it Ole Miss? Yeah, the Ole Miss game. He injured his hip. Obviously, he was banged up a lot last year. Had some ankle injuries. You saw Tua at practice. When he was hurt. Was he still going through the team drills, the team meetings and whatnot? How was Tua, helping the other guys in the locker room and things of that nature? And do you think that the injuries are a concern, or do you think that he can overcome those things?
Yeah, I mean, I think that with anyone, injuries could be a concern. And, in his case, he might be more prone in some people's eyes. I don't really know. He probably was put in some bad situations, and he's so versatile, trying to extend plays that some things just happen. But he could definitely handle it. He was in every team meeting after it happened. He was strolling around a little scooter type thing, but he was coming to the meetings, when he didn't necessarily have to. He was rehabbing every day and every night, trying to prepare, to get back to normal. And when he was on the sidelines, for the games, he was an incredible teammate, just always hyping up his other players, cheering on Mac. Something special. But Jalen did that very well when Tua had the starting spot in the national championship. But yeah, so Tua can definitely overcome injuries, and adversity is a thing that's easy for him to handle. Wouldn't say easy, but he can handle it. He's a really strong, faithful person, and that is something that'll take him a long way.
Really quickly, I want to touch on some of the draft picks that came out of Alabama this year. Obviously, we talked about Tua, but Jedrick Wills, one of the best offensive linemen in the draft. I felt that he was the best offensive lineman in the draft. He goes to Cleveland. Henry Ruggs, that guy has great speed. Very good wide receiver. He was actually the number one wide receiver off the board. He goes to the Raiders. Jerry Jeudy goes to the Broncos to play with Drew Lock. And then, obviously, you got Xavier McKinney. Trevon Diggs goes to Dallas. Raquan Davis. Terrell Lewis. Efrony Jennings, I believe, got drafted as well. Kind of talk about some of those guys and where they like in the locker room and things of that nature. And do you think that they can be very successful in the NFL?
Yeah, I think every single one of the guys. There's also Jared Baden and Shaheem Carter, who both went undrafted but signed with teams. And the whole group as a whole, they graduated this year, or not graduated, but went to the NFL, whether it be drafted or signed, is an outstanding group of guys. Tons of character within that group. And, some of them had streaky college careers, but I believe as a whole, they're going to have tremendous success. You talk about Xavier McKinney, he's a perfect person for the Giants program. He's so versatile. He can play any position if needed.
Since the Joe Judge mode.
Coachable. Yeah, he's a great guy. And like Shaheem Carter, went undrafted as a free agent to the 49ers. He's a steal, in my opinion. He's a guy who is a little undersized, but is always in the right spot. He's a genius when it comes to football and, just IQ on the field. And then Terrell Lewis is is massive, and the NFL team is going to be fun for him to get out there and compete with these guys and learn from NFL players and really, show them what he's got. You got Raekwon, is just massive, a ton of character in the locker room, goofy, but also can be just a killer on the field. Diggs,
I thought Diggs was a steal. I thought he was like a first rounder.
Yeah, he was a big steal. I think because of his inconsistency in some games this year, some teams were a little bit hesitant. But if you look at him as a whole, he's got the size, the speed, genetics, everything you would need. And I think you put that in the NFL. Um, there's something I could say about every single one of the guys. I just would like to say that as a whole, that most of them, if not all of them, are going to be successful in the league.
Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.